Yeah. In compliance with the Freedom of Information Act, notice of meeting was posted and agendas were distributed to news media and persons requesting notification.
I'll entertain a motion to approve our minutes for June 10th. Second.
Second.
Everyone, all in favor?
Aye.
Oh, okay. Plastic bag ordinance.
Alrighty, so with the plastic bag ordinance, I wanted to give a quick update on that. So we, I believe you guys all in your email got a copy of our ordinance so far. That is our draft ordinance, and we are in discussions with environmental management. So we are hoping to go to their committee meeting as well, get their opinion on it before any further movements.
Supported something in addition.
Is it?
Maybe you connected with saying about this sent her some months ago because the Cousins organization. Coastal Conservation.
Coastal Conservation, okay. Great.
Yeah, contacted me relative to that. And so I had to kind of start looking how we could expand, especially like corporate areas. It seems certain because I may be working on something that y'all are working on.
And I thought the objective of this was to match up, look at the other municipalities
Right.
and make sure we're
Right.
not the outlier in
Right.
this whole thing.
And that
Yeah.
was the whole purpose, and that's what I brought to them, but I don't think I followed. And so it may not be something you all need to spend a lot of time on. Because I'm already
Awesome, yeah.
And the Post and Courier just called Chloe. Chloe called me and asked me what the topic was all about. I guess they looked at the agenda and said, what is that all about?
Mhm. And what was sent to you was run by legal too, so
Okay.
they've
Oh.
looked at it, yeah.
We'll, we may fast track it, so,
Okay, awesome.
So that eventually be going to the council.
yes.
And it'll also be seen by the Environmental Management Committee as well at the county before going to council.
Did this group do that?
It was sent out with the packet for this meeting.
Yeah, I also have a copy if you want me to pass it on.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Alrighty, another quick update is we are changing the climate action plan name to the sustainability plan. If you look in the corner, most of the documents are all changed and updated on our website. So if you hear me reference the sustainability plan, that's just the new name.
It's fine, right?
And
As
then
long as it does what it's supposed to do. And makes other people happy by changing the name a little bit. Why not?
And then additionally, we are in our energy savings performance contract. We're working very closely with facilities here, and we are in the data collection phase with our contractor Train. So it's been really great. We were able to give them our Energy Star data that we've been collecting for the past few years, as well as our utility bills. So hopefully we'll see some great energy success and energy savings as well as financial savings for the county. Next up,
When do they come back for the recommendation?
I believe within like the next month or two, because we have a lot of data that we sent their way, and then we're going to finalize some of the buildings as well based on what facilities wants. Yeah, and we have bi-weekly update meetings as well. So if you have any questions, I can let you know after those. And so super exciting news. So I don't know if you remember in our first meeting, we actually had a pause for one of our grants. So this was a grant that Ariel applied to prior to me joining the county. And this is through the Department of Energy. It's their EECBG block grant. And it is to do weatherization and energy audits to different residential homes throughout the county. So we had our first home audit last week and it's super exciting. It went very well. We have 6 scheduled and then we're still working through getting a few more applicants based on some of the grant stipulations. But it went really well. We're really excited. That photo is just a quick, that's one of the tests they do. It's like a door blower test. So it basically sucks all the air out of the home and then blows in like 20-mile-per-hour wind, give or take, to basically emphasize where the drafts are. And then they're able to pinpoint the locations of this corner or this area of the duct is extremely leaky. So then that would be a way that they could recommend sealing it and then how they would seal it. Additionally, these are our energy conservation kits. So feel free to pass these around. Each homeowner is going to get one because we're not able to weatherize or retrofit all the homes. So we wanted to still give them some things that might help, even though our funds aren't providing all 20 homes of weatherization. So in there, this was also recommended by our contractors that we're working with, Sustainability Institute, the materials in there. So it's a energy saving guidebook for warm weather homes, a few LED light bulbs, a water aerator, a electric outlet, a power surge outlet to help, and a few different like sticky sealants.
So let me ask a question. How are these given kind of circumstances? If these to the homes, are they coming to something that did as a result of coming down that process?
Yeah, definitely. So as of right now, I felt like it was necessary to have a county representative at the energy audits as well, just because we're doing this program. So at the most recent one, I just gave it to them while the contractors were performing their tests. So that is how I was going to do it for all 20 of the energy audit
So
homes.
who knows if this is going? We just know that program.
It's internally, but also it was discussed during the approval, the grant.
Certainly. So what I'm saying is that the general public, right? Certainly we don't want to exploit residents who are receiving the weatherization kits and packages, but we have 20, based on this residential weatherization process, we have 20 homes that have been identified, one has been audited already, based on these criteria, whatever the case is, for homes that we're not able to fully unload. We're giving these things. So I think working with Chloe and her team, spread it out the information, because again, as it relates, we're not doing climate action, but certainly sustainability. We want to be leaders in that. We're doing the work. We want the general public to be aware that this is happening, because otherwise it's not happening. And so if we don't tell our own story, it's not going to be told. And so I would just say, especially because again, these are good things, but I mean, it really happens in a vacuum. And if we're exacerbating this message and the things that we're doing, they seem to be a small thing, but this small thing, these very things, individuals who may not necessarily qualify for the program, but might be able to take advantage of the implements that are in the kit, and some of that stuff they can purchase on their own, and just knowing what to do will help improve their efficiency. And so it's an education and an awareness as well to the broader public, except we're not educating and making them aware.
Can I take it one step further? Do we do, or does someone do an energy audit after the work has been done, and then make a comparison between before and after?
Yeah.
And thinking what we just heard, publicizing that to the public so they can actually see, hey,
Savings.
the weatherization is personally saving even $25 a month is still 25, whatever it is, what they're saving because of the weatherization.
And if the homeowner is agreeable, amenable, they may be candidates to speak on the issue. I mean, we don't want to force people to do anything, but at the same token, if they're willing, they could be a spokesperson. Hey, the county, this is Charleston County at work, and now my home is more energy efficient as a result. Otherwise, and then when we're trying to scale these type programs, barring a grant or whatever the case is, we can then say, well, for these 20 homes, we've made a difference. And then when we're making an appeal, especially in budgetary seasons, for more money specifically for a certain line item, it's worked, it's proven. We've had great success, especially, at least publicized it. And so that within itself gets a little bit more traction.
Yeah, maybe get an newsletter that we can announce.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have to make a big deal of everything.
And that's part of that climate action plan in terms of training and letting folks know how to get to that end game.
That's right.
You probably said this a long time ago, but how is a home selected? What's the process for that? I'm just curious.
Yeah. So it's originally it's all written out in the grant, all the stipulations. So they were selected. They have to be in one of our community development programs, and then they also have to fall within a DAC community, so a disadvantaged community that that was recognized through the federal government. And so once they do those, then we are able to give them an application, send them an application, and then our contractor then has to ask certain structural questions to see if they're able to perform the energy audit. So it's a little bit more, it's very specific due to the grant requirements, but if we were to continue this, we would be able to discuss different areas or different qualified candidates.
One thing have you guys shared the Dominion Energy Home Energy Checkup program?
Yeah, so it's I've been trying to share the resources that have been coming my way. So on our website, we have linked a lot of Dominion Energy's programs, as well as we've made some different Instagram posts of these are free resources that you're able to get if we're not able to help you with the county right now is not able to provide you services, then there's great free local resources as well.
You brought up a good point. If you call today and ask for a quote, they'll probably be there.
Yeah, okay. No guarantees on when, but it's free. 1 hour. They'll come to your home or do it. They'll do a lot of. There's a lot of overlap. So
I know they will.
And then but just want to make sure we're leveraging everything that we have.
Yeah, definitely. No, I appreciate it. So yeah, I've been trying to, when I'm not able to provide resources due to different stipulations, I've been trying to plug different organizations or groups that may be able to provide and help out. Yeah, thank you. Awesome. And then two next sustainability updates is we are also excited to announce that we are restarting the internal green liaisons program. So it's a volunteer group of internal county staff where they'll be able to be updated on some of our programs and projects to make sure the county is also sustainable and we're not just only focusing on the public. So just the increase of our battery drop-off program, compost program, as well as some other startup projects that we might be having. So we're excited to do that and make sure all the departments are able to work sustainably. And then lastly, we are also excited. We are going to be hiring an intern for this upcoming year, and it's been a huge success. We had 70 applicants. So I'm really excited, and great qualified applicants. I think it really shows that people are excited and passionate about this work, and especially excited to work at the county. So I think that's great. We're hoping to finalize hiring at the end of this month. So maybe by the next meeting, you'll be able to meet them.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, and then finally, on to the numbers, because numbers are always very exciting. So we have great, amazing people that work here. So I've been working with GIS, Madeline specifically, to kind of make the sustainability plan a little more palatable, and maybe for those who aren't in this field, just what are we looking at, what is happening. So we made an interactive story map. This is not on the website yet. I'm hoping after today we can get it uploaded if everything is all good. So basically it just talks a little bit about what the plan is, and then
I'm sorry, I'm sharing the wrong screen, so I'll just share this one for the recording.
and then as you scroll down, it will provide what the big moves are. And then if you keep going, it breaks down what the big moves are, some of the main bullets of what that move is, and then a map, an interactive map that highlights one of the topics. So what you're seeing on that map is the Energy Star buildings that we personally track, and then also all the green buildings in Charleston County. And then as you move down, it talks about sustainable transportation. So that has all of the transit stops for active transportation, as well as all renewable fuel sources and complete street projects that the county is working on.
Does that map expand to show those locations if you really want to look at where that area is?
Yeah,
It does.
and you should be able to click on a point and it provides more detail.
It might be loading.
It might take a while.
Yeah.
But it should provide you with the address.
It's a green building, is that a lead or something?
Yeah, so it's just like a green accreditation, which could be LEED or Green Globe certified typically. And then we wanted to highlight our electric vehicles. So those are 3 of them in the photo, but we also have our 2 Nissan Leafs. So that's really exciting that the county has been using them and we have them. This is all the solar panels, the permitted solar panels within Charleston County. So that's pretty exciting as well. And then leading into it, this is
How are you able to, is that also on residential?
Yeah, correct.
And how are you able to obtain that?
I believe it was through our planning and zoning department, yeah. And then, so basically this represents all of our greenbelt properties, like our green properties the county owns. So the larger the dot, the more greenbelt areas there are. And then lastly, for Big Move 5, it's our circular economy. So this basically just kind of dissects a lot of our different waste streams. And so it shows our battery bin locations. Right now, our battery drop off is just an internal program for the county. But the environmental management has drop off sites for the public as well in their recycling centers. And then the exciting part is when they load, we have a current update on the progress of the sustainability plan. And I made sure it's kind of small. When you're on your own laptop, it is a little bit better for visuals. But there's a breakdown on what percentage of the projects are for the big move. And then I made sure to break it up into internal, external, and then both. So what's happening internally with the county, as well as with our amazing partners and organizations outside of the county. And then I have broken down into the percent complete or ongoing projects. So a lot of the reason why these plans are successful is because of longstanding projects. So if they're ongoing, I've marked them as complete as well, because hopefully they will continue to keep going. And One big thing to note is this is just based off the information I've received. I know a lot of organizations are doing a lot of work, so this number will grow as I continue to meet with department heads and different people within the county, as well as continuously meet with our external partners as well. But this is what I've been able to gather so far. So super exciting, and I just want to keep seeing these numbers grow. And I really appreciate all the open communication and partnership we've been able to do both internally and with our outside partners.
When is our next quarterly update to council from sustainability?
We have not scheduled, but we can schedule one. I know this is kind of in that vein. When I got the presentation, I said, this would be great for an update the council where we stand with the climate action plan. I gotta learn the new word.
Sustainability plan.
And, maybe, good to tee it up just before the conference, so they can be invited to the conference as a big event. But, so tomorrow we can look at, committee meetings, the upcoming for that.
When you do that, let us know, because some of us might want to come and also the appointment attendance.
Okay, that's good information.
Yeah.
That's good
Yeah.
information.
Yeah, and so this, all of this is coming from the Airtable program I showed you previously. So if any, it's not public yet, but if any of you would like to zoom in on a certain project, just let me know and I can
You
get
will let
you
us
that.
know when it's a lot.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely.
Really great.
And if they have projects that they want to add or call out, right, there's still a way to add those to the Airtable.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, if you can just let me know or I can send you a link. It's basically what I've been asking for is just name of the project, a quick description, timeline, and then I usually sort out what big move it would fall under. So a huge thank you to all the municipalities too, because I've been reaching out to them and they've been helping me a lot with this too. And on the Airtable, when we talk about it, we make sure to highlight that like it is from their municipality, they're working on it. So we want to give them the credit that they deserve. Yeah,
Great.
I know. I always get super excited when I get to add in all the numbers and see our progress.
Yeah. Yeah, Allie's been doing really awesome work on this. So also like big applause to Allie and all the work she's been putting in. Share the screen now. And if it's all right, we'll roll into
Definitely.
resilience updates. All right, so at our last committee meeting in June, I believe, we had a presentation from Stephen Jolka, the consultant with Fernleaf, who helped us put together our multi-hazard vulnerability assessment. And in that assessment, there are 11 strategies for us to continue kind of building a comprehensive resilience strategy for the county. Over the past year, the vulnerability assessment was completed in October of 24, so just about a year ago. And since then, Fernleaf has gone ahead and gotten funding from the Climate Smart Communities Initiative. You'll see a couple documents about these two projects in your packet. The CSCI grant was awarded to Fernleaf, with Charleston County being the client. So we were able to get the benefit of this grant work being done for us on two of those resilience strategies that were in the vulnerability assessment. One of them was the framework for flood mitigation and prioritization, and the other was the brownfield strategic plan development. So these two strategies were completed kind of in one project, so to say, with a suite of deliverables that came from them. So the flood mitigation project was essentially a gap analysis of flood insurance policies that were held in throughout the county, and then analyzed that with the hazard risk that they face with flooding. So we could kind of see what areas of the county were at most risk to flooding and which had also the highest policies or most policies held. And then that would help inform where the county should prioritize where to put flood mitigation projects and also what kind of mitigation projects we should be doing. So for example, if there was a high risk, a high vulnerability in an area that doesn't have a lot of flood insurance policies, but perhaps is more, has more resources in terms of their socioeconomic capacity, then the strategy would be maybe to encourage them to buy flood insurance, right, and get a policy. Whereas another strategy for folks who do not have as many resources and have maybe aging infrastructure, then the county could prioritize putting more mitigation, infrastructure projects in that area. So this framework is it's sort of a more narrowed down strategy just for flood mitigation projects. The county is starting a stormwater master planning effort in the coming months that I'd love to be able to coordinate with them, and I'm working with them to see how we can actually apply this framework and use it. So we can, not only mitigate our flood risk, but also prioritize in the areas that are going to have the most impact, right? So we're using our resources wisely. So that's the flood mitigation project. Are there any questions on that?
I appreciate the coordination. I heard the presentation from the emergency director a couple of weeks ago, maybe, and just the level of intersectionality when these things make sense to collaborate and work together and not create a whole new, silo structure. It just seems very appropriate that you all are finding ways, because again, it is not a separate activity, sustainability or even resilience. It is in concert, with.
Right.
And so I really appreciate y'all finding those opportunities to match the work with already established things that will intersect in that. And so the more we hear those type collaborations, it just continues to embed the things that you're doing across the system.
And then for the brownfields mitigation or brownfield strategic planning effort, this is a similar project where we use the overlay of the hazards and the socioeconomic data, but we were looking specifically at brownfield sites that were in need of remediation, vacant sites, and specifically ones owned by the county. So the suite of deliverables from this brownfields project is an updated inventory of the brownfield sites in the county, as well as a sort of a data report that we could use to apply for EPA grants to do brownfields remediation. So essentially like a plug and play, so we can just easily apply for those grants. There is an EPA brownfields grant notice of funding opportunity becoming available mid-September. So we are again working with community services, our folks in community development, to see how we might want to proceed with applying for one of those grants and really kind of validating, verifying this work, right? And see how we can kind of make the most of this. And this is again, this is a community-driven project. There's a lot of community engagement in identifying these areas, and a lot of anecdotes that came from folks who were living in these communities and wanted specific sites to be not only like cleaned up, but revitalized for community use. So if we can think about that on top of where we can also reduce our flood risk, it just kind of helps bring all of these pieces together and again, make a more resilient, comprehensive strategy for the county.
So this is a plan. Has there been any actions already taken?
No, so this plan was completed September 1st. So just in time for this NOFO that we hope is coming out in a couple of weeks, see if we can put that plan into action. But I think that the next step for this is that we're seeing, by implementing 2 of the 11 strategies in the vulnerability assessment that was just adopted last year, we're making progress on, putting more resilient oriented planning in place, and kind of thinking about how to do this these long-term projects, right, that are going to get us a greater outcome in the longer term. So another great reason to continue thinking about what strategies we can do next in the vulnerability assessment. And in our last meeting, we did talk about the local resilience fund, putting that together. That was basically a continuation of the flood mitigation project, which could, evolve into something that, a fund where we could, collect those funds to do that mitigation work. Just an example of how we might want to continue building on the projects that we've already been doing rather than kind of starting again. So, and then for disaster recovery planning, so this is another element of the resilience work that we've been doing. I've been leading the development of a voluntary organizations active in disaster group, or a VOAD group. This is a structure that is held at the state level as well as the federal level, and several other jurisdictions in South Carolina have a VOAD organization, and Charleston County did have one a couple of years ago that has since disbanded, and now we're trying to reactivate it. So what I've been doing is holding workshops. I've held 2 workshops so far that Stuart's been at. Thank you for coming to those. And then the third one is next week. What we've been doing is inviting nonprofits, faith-based groups, service providers, folks who really help community members that are in need before a disaster. We know that they're going to be in need after that disaster too. So how do we continue providing those services and address the gaps in capacity that we know these organizations are going to have during a disaster to continue providing the services? So we've identified what those resources and services are by agency and kind of organized them, basically putting together a repository of information so that in a disaster we know if we need animal services, we've got these folks that we're going to call. And it's really just getting a name and a face and a phone number attached to that resource. So I'm doing that. In order to get the VOAD really off the ground and established, we need a committee and a structure to do that. A lot of VOADs have 501c3 certification, so we have agreed with Trident United Way for them to be our fiscal sponsor for the VOAD. The other elements we need are a chair, a vice chair, and a secretary, which I'm going to be recruiting folks that are meeting next week to see if we can formalize that. And once we have those leaders emerging, we've already talked about what an org chart would look like, how the resources would, get funneled into the VOAD and then connected back to our emergency operations center. Once we have that group together, then this can really be handed off to the voluntary agencies that are working in this space. I want to be clear with that the VOAD is really it's a community-led organization where the governmental partner is a liaison to it. It is not a government-led effort. I've been stepping into this role to help with the administration and try to get kind of folks together and organized, but then the goal is for us to kind of step back and have a VOAD coordinator be that liaison with the Emergency Operations Center and continue working that way. So are there questions about that kind of structure or how that works? Or
I'm just going to add to it. It is so exciting to see these volunteer organizations all come together, realizing that they're going to come together if it's a disaster. Sorry. And so I suggested that Molly and Allie that maybe we might want to consider a member of this group becoming part of that VOAD. Not to chair it or to lead it, but to be part of that organization chart so that there is a connection with, since we are a resilience group, with that. So,
Stuart, along those lines, I'm looking at an email from Mary with the state VOAD. So I serve on the state.
Okay.
Even before appointed. and there's a coordinator. I assume you know Mary and are interfacing with.
Yes, very much.
Yes. So yeah, how it would be worth looking at local members of the state NOAD that are based in Charleston County for potential folks that probably could serve in both, because if we're serving at the state level, then we probably could be.
All 3
I don't know. I don't know that I'm volunteering. However, it's a good list to look at.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Anyway, and is that what you envision here? Is a staff allocation where you have a coordinator that's part of their responsibility set?
Sure, yeah, so the VOAD, so since Trident has been, United Way has been working on fundraising and getting funds together to run this group. Part of those funds are going to go to a VOAD coordinator position that they will fully kind of support and staff at United Way. And that coordinator would then be a direct liaison to the county. But your role, or your suggestion about the local organizations coming down at the state, local level is fantastic. Mary has been coordinating with me on that, who those folks would be. We've had roughly 70, 75 organizations that have come, into this space and wanted to coordinate, and we have 45 folks signed up to attend a meeting next week. So it's right now we're casting a really wide net. We want to get anyone and everyone who wants to be involved in this and give them a space, and then sort of narrow it down from there. But I think that's a great
I
suggestion.
figured the dots were connected. It's just like the FEMA announcement.
Yes.
The ending of the dashboard and there's some disturbing trends also at the federal side. And so we're all.
Exactly. Yes. Absolutely. Okay. Then our next topic on the agenda is discussing the Resilience and Sustainability Symposium that is scheduled for November 19th at Trident Technical College. This is a one-day event, 8 to 4. Allie and I visited Trident Tech yesterday and saw the space, and I don't know how many of you all have been there, but it's a great space. I'm sure you have, yeah. So we've been brainstorming kind of how we want to run the day and what we want to kind of elevate. So what we've been thinking is that the goals of the day are going to be to align climate resilience and sustainability initiatives across the county. So similar to how we were just discussing, there's a lot of initiatives happening across the county. So how do we kind of let everyone be aware of what's happening and leverage each other's support? Identifying additional partners and projects. So again, getting like that information seeking, gathering. But then we also want to establish the convening of government and non-governmental agencies around resilience and sustainability initiatives, and think about, the awareness that there are so many groups convening folks in, around these initiatives. Just kind of having a conversation about that. There's a lot of convening going around, so who kind of can step in certain spaces, and what are the different roles for how we continue moving this forward together, and then where are there gaps? Where are we not looking, or who are the folks that we're not reaching quite yet? So those types of things. So those are the goals of the day, and in order to get to those goals, we're inviting members of the public sector, so local, state, and federal government employees, private sector, non-governmental organizations like our nonprofits, and then members of academia. So this event is not open to the public, but basically everyone who serves the public is invited. Our guesstimate is about, we'd like to get about 200 folks invited, but our number might be closer to 100, 120. So we'll kind of see how those RSVPs are shaping up. I think we have, 70 folks?
67
Yeah.
right now RSVP.
Registered, yeah. So that's looking good. We also want to have a poster session there, so folks can actually put together how they want to present their project and the information they want to share about it, and they'll have an opportunity to have that, and people can wander around and look at those. But the question we want to ask you all is, who else should be at this event that we're not maybe thinking of quite yet? And for tabling, for vendors, who do you think it would be beneficial to see table to share their services, resources, things that they're doing, initiatives that they're doing at this event? Yeah, Dominion. Those are great suggestions.
Sustainability Institute, they're not.
If you could resend us to that, we have to share all the time. I appreciate that.
Sure.
I was also thinking about local people first.
Yeah.
Do we have any sponsors or individuals wanting to sponsor this event? Or we might be able to provide them prominently with something, as a result of their sponsorship?
We haven't gone the sponsoring route just yet. We were thinking about that, but we can certainly put that back on the table.
Well, I'm just asking.
Yeah, we can definitely
Yeah.
look into it, but we have not. We went through a budgeting process that we want to put X amount of dollars here to do these things for resilience and sustainability. So we're using that
That's right.
to put this on. All right. Molly, are we having some elected official government agencies and some
Thank
sort
you.
of,
That's a big part of this that I forgot to mention.
Sorry.
Yeah, no,
Be
it's
quiet.
totally forgot to mention that. So basically the structure of the day is we're going to have opening remarks from Mr. Middleton and Mr. Duncan of the State Office of Resilience. Then we'll have a breakout session where we'll kind of dive deep into climate action planning or sustainability planning, and also hazard vulnerability planning. So we kind of set up the day with what we're talking about. Then we'll have a moderated panel at lunch with elected officials. So we've invited Chair Middleton, of course, and Mayor Burgess, of North Charleston, Mayor Cogswell. We are extending an invite to Mayor Haney. We've invited Mayor O'Neill from Sullivan's Island, and Mayor Leland of McClellanville. So working on finding good representation from all parts of the county. We want to make sure that everyone has a voice from, rural, urban, islands, inlands, everyone in our community is represented. So that panel will be a discussion about this resilience and sustainability initiatives. And we have a question in our RSVP that asks the folks registering what question they would like to ask their elected officials about this work. So we're also pulling from what the registrants are wanting to know. So we'll have that at lunch, and then following that, another breakout session to dive a little bit more deeper into the details of different projects that are happening across the county, and then how to bring the convening kind of back together. How do we collaborate in a more kind of effective, streamlined way? Then a discussion about gaps and challenges. Where do we need support? Where we see some gaps? And then bring it back at the end of the day for how do we move forward from here? This is what we heard. How do we move forward? And we'll, hopefully have next steps for how we're going to be convening and collaborating as a county, and also a much stronger idea of who's doing what and what we're not doing in the sustainability and resilience world. The thoughts on that?
I would imagine the Home Builders Association has.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, people who's all around, but it would make sense,
Mhm.
It's from CARTA or something.
Yeah, transportation. Yeah.
I know the Low Country Rapid Transit is kind of still in conception, but even, we're looking at all these modalities that would, especially sustainable elements that they are carefully even as it relates to those things, that they may be interested partners, either as vendors or whatever.
Mhm.
get more information.
As you mentioned electeds and primarily focused on local mayors, there are, and Chairman, you and I meet in a couple weeks, so these are some things I'm going to talk to you about with me. There are some efforts that'll be introduced in the State House next year that are relevant to sustainability, resiliency, conservation, and development. It may be too early, but it's probably worth an offline conversation. Celeste Davis is leading one of those, Gary Brewer, the DOT conversations leading another. While they're tangentially, they're certainly connected to the conversation of resiliency. I don't know if there's space in this symposium for that, but it probably is something worth the county sort of leaning into as that conversation heats up next year legislative session.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to
We
talk offline
online,
and give you
yeah.
more information on the 2 or 3 things I'm involved in, but I think there will be some implications at the state law level that could feed into this conversation or a future conversation.
Thank you. Yeah, let's
It's the Office of Resilience and
A couple of them, yeah.
so they might be able to include more of that.
It may also be a nice way to ingratiate a couple of the elected leaders that are going to be in charge.
Okay.
Great. That's part of that too.
Yeah, that's great.
We can talk.
Sure. Great. Well, thank you for that discussion.
Yeah, here are just some quick updates. We are really trying to make sure that we're getting this division out there and we're involved with the community. So since our last meeting, we had 8 different community engagement events. Some of these include the VOAD workshops, the compost workshops. So we have a pretty large residential composting program that was started by the city with Katie McCain, but now Mika and I work very closely, as well as with environmental management, because Beast Ferry houses that compost facility. And then we did our Hurricane Expo, and then just a few different events within the county, like the Wellness Fair and some events with CFC. And then to follow that up, we have some upcoming events that we're really excited about. So the closest one is the annual beach litter sweep. They said the beach litter sweep, but it's just a litter sweep that is all over Charleston County, as well. It goes up to Myrtle Beach. So it's just everyone is doing a litter sweep in different areas at the same time. So it's hosted by the Sea Grant Consortium, but the Marsh Project actually reached out to see if we would want to work with them on their location. So that is going to be Saturday, September 20th from 11 to 1. I will be there if anyone wants to join me. And the location is the cross section of 10th Avenue and Gordon Street. So it's kind of that Wagner Terrace area downtown. And hopefully we'll be able to collaborate with some more projects like that. Some more traditional, just good for the planet, good for community building activities. And then we are also planning a Sea Rise stroll. And we are hoping to have that be in around the 10-mile community. And basically the goal, we are working with the aquarium with their Blue Line project. And the goal is really to have an interactive walk of showing what flooding looks like in that community. So we are planning it along the King Tides, I believe. So you will be experiencing flooding on that walk. So we recommend that we'll give you all that information, but we recommend bringing waders or any type of boots. But it's really making sure we have members of the community there as well. And we're walking along and seeing the impacts of these flooding. I mean, I'm sure all of you in this room can see it, how it affects your own community, especially with some of the flooding and rains in the past few days.
And we'd love Scott and also Scott to invite folks from the universities. If students are interested in attending or if working in the space and want to see what's going on, we'd love to have their participation.
I put a need there for that.
Great.
I live really close by, so I was going down.
Oh,
to
perfect.
meet you guys been like Seafood Road right there on that?
That's right. Yeah. We're still identifying the specific place where we're going to meet, what the route's going to look like, but it's in that area. Yeah.
And this is the first one that's not gonna be on the peninsula. So typically it's in that Lockwood area on the peninsula, so we're excited to kind of partner and show different areas of the county, what that looks like. And then these last two, they are not planned yet, but we've been talking about them. We're super excited. We want to do another one of the pumpkin smashes events for, typically that's at the West Ashley Farmers Market, I believe, in the past, but I think it's a fun way to recycle your pumpkins after you carve them and they're kind of decomposing a little bit, and then Christmas tree and wreath pickup.
I also suggest, I know maybe not this year, it's already it's set on West Ashley, but possibly doing that in North Charleston. I know City of Charleston proper already gets a lot of that, but I think us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I really want to try and like expand some of the
Yeah.
things that we've been
Charleston
doing.
gets all the
You
love.
can-
Yeah, definitely. Awesome, yeah.
We have members of the committee that would like to talk before the public. Go ahead.
I just wanted to share with this group relevant to events. So with the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, they are coming tentatively December the 10th to do a disaster resiliency roundtable. It's probably gonna be like a half-day event. We're gonna be focusing on all 3 counties. So it'll be discussing that sort of through the business lens. We'll talk about insurance and just other things that impact businesses in the community when disasters occur. So I'd love to have everyone at the table there, but I'll let you all know, and even as we're building out the
Yes.
agenda, maybe there's opportunity for y'all to talk about the work that you're doing here.
Yeah, I'd love that. Thank you, Doug.
Comments from the committee? Anybody from the public have a comment?
Over here.
Yeah.
Hi y'all, my name is Brooke Glosser with the Coastal Conservation League at 131 Spring Street. I'm here today because I just wanted to say thank you so much for the Resilience and Sustainability team and Councilmember Middleton for presenting the plastic bag loophole ordinance for y'all. I've been working on the loophole for the plastic bag since my start of my tenure at the Conservation League in 2023. I first worked with the city to get it passed, and we've seen a lot of success in the city in James Island. For those of you who might be familiar, the number of plastic bags after the initial plastic bag ordinance was passed in 2016, there was actually a College of Charleston and Citadel joint study that showed that the number of plastic bags actually dramatically decreased following the ordinance, except because of those thick plastic bags, the number of plastic litter actually increased. So by closing this loophole and encouraging the larger businesses to go for the paper bags instead of the thick plastic bags, we're seeing a really, really big difference in litter sweeps throughout the county. I've noticed a visual difference just from driving around in the city and other areas of Charleston. So I just want to say thank you so much for bringing that forward. I have a lot of resources and scientific backed information and information from other municipalities in the county that have done and move this ordinance forward. So if anybody has any questions at all, at any point, I have my cards with me and I'm happy to talk to y'all about that as well. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Very informative and really motivating. Looking forward to a lot of things happening. Thank you. Your motion to adjourn? Second? Second. All in favor? Everybody have a great day.
Yeah, thank you so much.